The movies I watched in October. What about them? It was a month filled with many new releases and catching up on an entire franchise. Let's get into it! Please help your favorite average movie guy get to 1,000 subscribers by subscribing right now. Elio, 3.5 out of 5. First, I watched this film on Disney Plus with my girlfriend about a boy mistaken for Earth's ambassador who must navigate an intergalactic summit. Pixar somewhat did it again. It is a very emotional film that just got me, with some great music. The premise is quite brilliant and the execution matches it partly. However, it is a little too similar to the Pixar formula. It is also a shame that the animation style is a little uninspired while still looking good within this style. Predator 2, 3 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film to continue the franchise, following a Los Angeles cop who faces a deadly alien hunter terrorizing the city amid a brutal gang war. The premise is pretty interesting, but it just doesn't really feel like a Predator film, even though it rehashes a lot of the previous one. It is a very stylistic film with cool shots and good action. Even though the set pieces are entertaining, the middle part drags a bit. The effects are also worse than before and there's way too much of the Predator interface. Danny Glover is a very enjoyable lead, but there is some pretty bad acting from the supporting cast. It is also obviously great to see more of the Predator as well as expanding the mythology. Predators 3 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film to further continue the franchise, following a group of elite warriors stranded on an alien planet to become the prey of a new breed of predators. Just like before, it is a very cool premise within the franchise, reinventing it even more than before. Visually and stylistically, it is less interesting than before, but way more interesting and original story-wise. However, the plot twist was so incredibly obvious, I was literally able to guess from the very first minute. It also has a pretty good ensemble, with Lawrence Fishburne as a surprise, but a big standout. It is just a shame that the last act really lets it down, while there are also no real standout moments in the film. Very much a Predator sequel problem. The Predator 1 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film to again continue the franchise, following a group of humans who must survive after a genetically enhanced predator arrives on Earth, escalating its hunt. Predator is cooler, right? They gave it a fucking nickname, Jesus Christ, that sucked. The film reinvented the franchise in all the wrong ways. It doesn't really know what genre it is in, it shifts genre way too much. The humor doesn't work at all and there never really is any tension. We see the Predator almost immediately and way too much of it in general. Also, a lot of dumb stuff happens in general, both character-wise as plot-wise, with the Super Predator being the dumbest of them all. At least it has a stacked cast that wasn't really good, to be honest. Tron Ares, 3.5 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film at the cinema, following a highly advanced digital program named Ares navigating the real world while grappling with autonomy and ethical dilemmas. It is pretty damn cool. The start isn't really that strong, there are so many transition shots and a massive exposition dump, even in dialogue. Premise is a bit of a cliché within this world and there's also weird enough not much to the characters. Getting to know them only really starts from the second act onwards. There was surprisingly little dialogue from the main duo before that, even separately. However, the longer the film goes on, the cooler it gets, especially that retro Tron scene. It does look pretty damn awesome in general and the world of Tron will always be cool. And the visuals make up for some of the flaws. I don't really like Jared Leto, but he was pretty bearable with a mostly strong supporting cast as well. However, the score is what carries the film so incredibly hard. It hits every time, fits perfectly and elevates every scene. Predator Killer of Killers, 3.5 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film to finish the franchise, following warriors from different eras hunted by the ultimate predator. It is a good entry that adds to the mythos, but also destroys some of the credibility of the predators as a species. It is one of the more stylistic films in the franchise, while also being incredibly brutal. It again does a great job of extending the franchise's lore. While it looks good, the animation isn't always pleasing on the eye as a viewer. Story-wise, it also feels a bit weird in the first acts. The Predator is sort of plonked into some of the stories, which doesn't really make them feel like they belong. However, the final two acts really steal the show here. There should have been way more of that, because it now lacks some focus as a true feature film. Black Phone 2, 4.5 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film at the cinema that follows a traumatized teen and his younger sister as they investigate nightmares and ghost calls linked to a winter camp. I am so glad they didn't rehash the first. What a great reinvention into even more of the supernatural. To me, it is even substantially better than the first. It is one of the most stylistically original horror films I've seen in a while. All the dream sequences are so well made, the visuals, the sound, that eerie feel. The first 20 minutes are somewhat of a slog to get through, but after that the setting becomes very cool. Especially the second act, but also the third act are not only pretty great horror, but just fantastic in general. As the film went on, it became unexpectedly emotional, bringing me close to tears, something I didn't expect at all. Everything just hit where it needed to. A couple scares, the tense feeling throughout, the emotions, and the pretty fantastic performances across the board. Avatar 4 out of 5. Next up, I rewatched this film with my girlfriend to get ready for the new one, about a marine who joins an alien world and must choose between his duty and protecting its people. It is surprisingly very rewatchable. The positives are very obvious here, a revolutionary film with breathtaking visuals and a very cool world that Cameron fully sells you on. The performances are fine but could have been better. It does sometimes look a bit video gamey, not in visuals, because those are still quite astonishing even to this day, but in cinematography and camera work. This film truly is a sci-fi spectacle like no other, but maybe sometimes a bit too much. That last act gets pretty chaotic and drags, while its strength is more in the world building and characters surrounding it. Roofman 4.5 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film at the cinema, about an army veteran turned robber who hides inside a Toys R Us while his past catches up with him. It is not what I expected, but what a brilliant surprise. It is quite a simple film looking at it straight on, but it has many complex elements that elevate it. Channing Tatum is so incredible here, it truly is an Oscar-worthy career best performance that won't be recognized. Although the supporting cast is great, he is the film. I haven't been this invested in a story and characters for a while. I was truly living with him all throughout. Even though the pacing isn't steady, I felt that it fit each part of the story where needed. Tension, emotion, joy, comedy, this film truly has it all. It tries to be many things, which makes it a bit tonally weak, but at its core it still fully succeeds at what it wanted to be. Highest to lowest, 2 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film about a music industry titan who becomes caught in a life or death moral crisis when a ransom plot threatens his world. A somewhat enjoyable ride, where the first 10 minutes that had little to do with the rest of the story were actually the best. There are some weird and distracting editing choices here. Denzel is good as always, and I like Jeffrey Wright in many roles, but he doesn't sell this one at all. But by far the worst piece of acting I have seen in a while was A$AP Rocky, with the highlight or lowlight being those incredibly fake phone calls between him and Denzel. Such an incredibly weak antagonist truly harms the film, while the story also very much spells itself out from start to finish. The Long Walk 3 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film about a group of teenage contestants in a dystopian America who must continuously walk at a minimum pace or face execution. It has a stellar cast who mostly have somewhat stellar performances. It starts off intriguing, but as the film goes on, it turns into an overacted, somewhat nonsensical cliché story. My intrigue and engagement was still okay throughout, but definitely went down as the film went on. And also, not all the kills hit along the way, which says something about how much we as an audience care about these characters. With the ending being pretty much the worst of it all. Very anticlimactic. A House of Dynamite 3 out of 5. Next up, I watched this film on Netflix, which follows the US government's frantic scramble to respond when an unidentified nuclear missile is launched towards the United States. The best thing I can say about it is that it feels very real and has a fantastic first act, but is let down by its structure. Each subsequent act feels very lackluster and gets worse. It is interesting to follow, but works way less than it could have. I don't hate the structure in itself, because it does create an opportunity to show more, but in the way it is used, it destroys a pretty great intense story due to unnecessary repetition. However, it does remain very engaging in parts, keeps you wondering, even shocks you and evokes panic, while also having a really stacked cast that definitely do their job. Despite all that, what in the world is that ending? After diminishing returns and teasing us with 3 separate cliffhangers and still not giving us anything. And there you have it, the movies I watched in October. These were my best and worst watches of the month. I hope you guys again enjoyed me rambling about some films I watched, and if you did, let me know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe for more videos like these. I have been Dean, the average movie guy on your screen. Big thanks for watching. See you next time. Roll the credits.